Robby D and the lesser known.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Robby D and the Lesser Knowns. I'm your expert host, Robby D. What am I an expert of? Well, I'm an expert at bringing you the truth on a silver platter served by a guy in white gloves in a mansion in Malibu. You figure that out. With me, as always, is producer Will.
Hello.
Will once built a giant slingshot with his brothers and got yelled at by his mom.
Well, after she found it.
Either way, he got yelled at. Guys, I want to share a quick story with you. I did a job at 1020 Studios the other day, and in that room they filmed Michael Jackson's Off the Wall. Very cool story. I found that out because a van pulled up outside full of tourists to take a look at that building, and I was shocked. My goal, listeners, is to make the building we're in, Santa Monica, right now, a tour stop. Say, hey, they shot RDLK there. Watch out. And it starts with our guest today. I'd like to welcome to the hot box here, Annie Sertich.
Hi. It is a box. It's not hot.
Not
it's
yet.
mild.
Not yet. Just wait till the show. Wait till the hour mark of this show. You're going to want to get the hell out of here.
Oh, man. Are you guys wearing deodorant? No?
Not on podcasting days.
Fix that new.
Man.
Just so our guests know, Miss Annie has appeared on a bunch of television shows, including Shameless, Two Broke Girls, Silicon Valley, The Office, so many commercials, so many more shows. Roman J. Israel Esquire with Denzel Washington, name drop, and of course can be seen on the stage at the Groundling Theater here in Los Angeles. I'm going to jump right in and start with the hard questions.
Yes.
How old are you and how much do you weigh?
Not your business, not your business. And I make $400 million a year.
Great. We're not going to give you your fee to show up then if that's how much you have. No, but Groundling here in Los Angeles is not easy to do at all.
No.
But you started dancing when you were in Michigan?
Yes. Thank God there wasn't YouTube back then. But, you know, when you're a little kid in Michigan and you dance in your backyard or in your basement and nobody films it, you do think one day I could be a rockette or something. Mm-hmm. You know, I would put my cat in a cat carrier and put him like in the middle of the yard and feed him salami and dance, tap dance, hardcore, like Mr. Bojangles to my cat. It was my one audience member. So I grew up, doing that. But I had no aspiration to necessarily do acting or writing as a career. Because I'm from the Midwest, you just don't. No, you go get a real job and a real career and you know.
Go to college, you do what your parents do.
Yeah. Oh, gosh, yeah. You do all that stuff.
But when you were a kid, so acting wasn't in your bones.
It wasn't in my bones. I did dance, and when you do dancing and you do jazz, tap, ballet, toe, you do different things. You act as characters. So, like, you do Peter Pan, and, like, I was Wendy. Just in a little dance number, that kind of thing. And I was always someone that was a little hammy on the side, but no. I was never going to be an actor. And
then let me guess, you went to college, and that's where the acting bug hit you, for sure, right?
Totally, and no.
Oh.
No, I did a play in college, 2 plays that were fantastic, like lights on, felt the best I ever felt, right, the way the theater smells, right before the curtain comes up. You live in your truth. And then I'm like, but I couldn't do that for my real life because I'm from the Midwest and you have to make money.
You had to do what your parents did.
Yeah. And also, like, quite frankly, like, you have to, like, look like an ingenue. You can't just, like, go and, like, what I mean? I mean, you guys are both, like, super leading men studs, but I just mean...
Well, one of us is.
This is a fact. I want everyone to know. We're both studs. She said it.
Yeah.
Yes. So let me guess, you graduated college.
I did graduate college, yes.
And I'm moving to L.A. because I want to be an actress.
Oh, my God. Yeah, no. No, that is not what happened either. So
you wanted to be a lawyer, though.
I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to do social justice law, but I also was addicted to John Grisham books. So I sort of wanted to do social justice, like change the world, but also like have a Mercedes and, like a briefcase. And I wanted to fly first class and I wanted to be like real popular. So
You can still do that with social work.
yeah, I mean, I didn't really understand that the pay structure is not quite the same as that.
Okay.
But yeah, that's pretty much was my vision. And also, I'm deathly afraid of flying. I have to now take what I call flight drugs to fly. So,
Me too.
Do you really?
Yes. About 25 years old, I'll never forget my first flight from Houston to L.A.
Yeah.
And I freaked the fuck
Yeah.
out. They closed the cabin door and locked it. I remember being like, why does it feel like my chest is about to explode?
Okay.
And I started talking to the woman next to me. That poor soul, she had no choice. She was talking to me on that flight because, you know, some people are
Yes.
quiet. I was like, hi, how are you? I'm Robert. And
Yes.
I started talking to her. And that was the only thing that eased my anxiety.
Really?
'Cause I didn't know what it was.
Okay. So what happened next?
I didn't get on a plane for 13 years, probably. No, I'm just kidding. I started
Are
to get...
you fucking kidding me?
I started
Wait,
to
can
get-
we swear on this podcast?
Absolutely.
Okay. Fuck.
Okay, we're just making we're making a point. We don't have to celebrate it, Frank. Old school, anyone? All right.
No, what movie is that from?
Old school.
Oh, from old
Earmuffs.
school. I thought you meant it was like old
Yeah.
school, like an old school joke.
Because, look, just say earmuffs.
Wait,
Cock
real
balls.
quick, let me tell you something about old school, and then I promise we're going to get back to your drug experience or not drug experience. But I substitute taught, and these seniors, I had to fill in an hour and a half, and they were like, I was like, what movies do you guys want to watch? And I brought DVDs, and they were like, we haven't seen this one. I'm like, okay. They put on the uncut version of Old School.
Oh, high school kids?
Yeah, that I was in charge of, right there at Crossroads, which is in walking distance from where we are right now. Yeah. I mean, that was pretty cool to have like the dean of students walk by while there's like someone like jizzing in a jar.
The Jello wrestling. He just walks by.
I was like, oh my gosh, what have I done? Also, those kids were like, why is your car duct taped together? And I'm like, because I'm a substitute teacher and an actor. So...
And this is Crossroads, where you're all really rich little shits.
Well, there were really rich. There were some genuinely fantastic kids there too. But then there were some kids who were like, don't talk to the sub, and why do you have duct tape on your car? And yeah, one told me to take a walk and trim some miles off my thighs. And another one.
Why are you eating Taco Bell for lunch, teacher?
Basically, because it's all I can afford. Your dad is in the Red Hot Chili Peppers? Okay. I need to confiscate your Walkman. Yeah. But no, there were great kids too. Anyway, so you didn't fly for 13 years?
No,
'cause-
that was a joke.
I
didn't fly sober for 13 years.
Okay, so what did you do?
Alcohol was the only thing that curbed it.
Really?
Yeah, I wouldn't get anywhere near a plane.
Wow.
Alcohol would curb that, and then when me and my wife went to Thailand, I just took a bunch of pills.
Okay.
I started taking anxiety pills.
Sure.
It's
Like,
just
for-
nothing else. I can deal with it in every aspect of my life. It's not a problem. When I get on that damn plane and they close that door and it's like you're sitting there and you're not going anywhere for at least 2.5, 3 hours, it drives me nuts.
Yeah. We should never fly together, you and I. So when we take this podcast to Ireland to interview the Peaky Blinders, I know, right? I'm obsessed. We can't fly together. I had a similar experience, bad flight, like yelling Jesus at the top of my lungs, and landed and couldn't move. And so someone had a Xanax. Used that for a little bit, and I was also like going to a funeral, so this is also all mixed up together. But anyway, then the Xanax stopped working, so now I take Klonopin, and I also think I do #flight drugs. So I live video myself on flight drugs. I write things I meant to write, like high winds, and I wrote high AIDS, and like put that on my Facebook. I went up to the pilot, and I was like, "Thank you for the safe flight. I'm divorced." I mean, I barely remember. And then I have these videos of me like getting on planes. And also what happens on my flight drugs is I start to turn on myself. Like, you get your shit, buy a printer, get your shit together. Why don't you own a belt? Come on, get a belt. Like, I just start to, I don't do it to anyone else. The flight drugs somehow make me turn on myself.
But also,
Anyway.
that is the pinnacle of success. When you have a printer and a belt, you've made it.
I mean, I have some belts, but like, get a nice, cool, like, right? Get a good new belt. Do you guys have new belts? I mean, guys wear belts.
I get a belt every 2 years for Christmas. That's my belt system.
Really? That's
That's
cute.
sweet.
Anyway,
Same mom who yelled at him for the slingshot.
I was just going to say from the belt, don't make a slingshot out of it.
Sounds just like my mom now.
It could be.
Oh my God. So what brought you from Michigan to Los Angeles?
I decided to do a year of volunteer service work. And so I applied to this program. It's sort of like an AmeriCorps program, but it's 1 year instead of 2. I lived in East LA with basically like 4 other college grads. And we were plopped in a house in serving the community that we were working in. So I worked downtown in Skid Row at like a job placement facility. We made $75 a month. We had a car with no front grill. We got pulled over for thinking we were buying drugs in the projects, and we were like, no, we just work here. And I hung out with gang members. It was the craziest time in my life, and I thought then I would go on to law school, and it changed my life, and I never went to law school.
Oh, how did it change your life?
I mean, I know this is supposed to be funny, but...
No. It's got peaks and valleys.
All right, we'll go to a valley for 1 second. Honestly, I was like, oh, money and what you think you're supposed to do doesn't matter anyway, because here were people that never set out to become homeless necessarily, or... veterans or young kids running away to Hollywood, and like meeting a kid who was living up at the Hollywood sign, which P.S. now they have gates around because that's what kids do. They like run away and they think that's where they're supposed to go, or they live in warehouses, or, old guys with bullet wounds, like really hearing their stories. I was like, oh, okay. It's about being happy. It's not about money. It's not about what you think you're supposed to do. It's about being happy. And that's how it changed my life. Yeah.
Nice. See, that wasn't that.
Was that too much of a
valley? That was wonderful.
Yeah. I mean, you have to make money to not be homeless, but yeah.
We got to make $75 a month.
I made $75 a month. We had like our rent and our bills paid for, but we got $75 a month spending money. So we would pool our money and buy like a 12-pack of Lucky beer, I think it was called. And yeah, we would just fuck around East LA as like 5 white kids. But the community took care of us because they knew we were there to help.
That's it.
We were in a single gang territory too.
Did you actually join one?
I didn't, but I did learn things like not to say and what to say. And you know what I mean? If they say, I got like, yeah.
What were you not supposed to say?
They say, where you from? Where you from, white girl? And you're from nowhere. Where you from? I mean, this is getting... we got I got a gun pulled on me. And I was just like, I was from the Midwest. Like, I grew up and I had a North Face backpack on when I first went. And I wore makeup. And by the end, I'm like, I was like, fuck the man. And paid in pennies to valets and Beverly Hills and wore, a hat. And,
I'm imagining you with cornrows.
I mean, basically, I was like, yeah, but it was because I was so, inspired by people. So yeah, so I did social work, and I stayed doing social work for like 2.5 years.
And that was it. Law school is now gone. You're staying in Los Angeles.
I was staying in Los Angeles. I still kept going, you should go law school. You're supposed to go law school because what are you going to do? And then I was like, maybe I'll get a master's in social work. Okay. Again, two different debt structures, but also 2 different payment structures in the end, right? But I was like, well, I've lived just off of $75. I can live, And then that's when the heroin came. Heroin in the form of an improv class in a basement at a dance studio with a cute guy with long hair that was a natural perm, and a bunch of weirdos doing make-em-ups. And I lived for that Saturday morning. Lived for it.
Yeah?
Lived for it. Couldn't wait. All week. I was like, oh, this is how I felt. This is how I felt back in college when I was on stage, but even more because there was no script. It was like, improv is about bringing, you have to bring yourself to it, and all you can do is just bring yourself, your brain, your characters, who you are. It's terrifying and also so exciting. And then a tiny crush on the guy too, but...
That didn't hurt.
Yeah. So it was that. And then they had a Wednesday night class, and I would go watch the Wednesday night class. And then before you know it, I was like in another class, and I just kept signing up for the classes and then watching. And then I moved to another place, and I was studying with people who were Second City trained. And, they were people that were, had known like Chris Farley, and I had learned about his SNL audition where he just ran and did a belly flop on stage. And I was just like, I would sit around at a bar afterwards and listen to these stories of people who worked with amazing, greats. And then I started watching like an improv group that was like Lisa Kudrow and who else? Who else did I say?
Scott Winio.
Scott Winio, writer and SNL, one of the funniest men alive. He had written most of Will Ferrell's material, or a lot. I shouldn't say most. I have no factual evidence except for my brain remembering that he said something like that. But I'm talking fast because I'm trying to get it all in. But yeah, it was fucking so dope. And
you said you saw Conan. Sam Simon.
I got to do scenes with Sam Simon, who is passed on.
Created The Simpsons, for those of you who don't know.
He was hilarious and so nice. And afterwards, he was like, "You're funny, kid." And I'm like,
"Me?
Dear Journal." Yeah. I did an Harold, which is an improv game with Ryan Stiles, who at the time was on Whose Line Is It Anyway? Or me?
Drew Carey Show, maybe?
Drew Carey Show, yes. And he was like, I was terrible, but he was like, "That was fun." They picked one student to perform with the masters, and I somehow got picked.
Well, I know why.
I was terrible.
You're freaking talented.
Well, thank you, but I was also terrible. And he was like, "You're all right, kid. You're good." And I was like, he didn't say that, but he just said something like, "Yeah, that was good." I was like, "Oh, dear Journal, dear Journal." So I waited tables, and I was waiting on Dustin Hoffman. He's like, "You're a good waitress, but what else do you want to do in life?" I'm like, "I want to be an actress." And he's like, "Call my office on Monday." I did call his office and nothing happened. I imagine his secretary was like, "Oh, no, he went out to dinner again." But I was like, dear Journal. All these moments that I thought, well, I'm just going to keep going. And then tons of rejection too, but I was like, I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah. But throughout all of it, you were still doing improv as your basic training underneath it all.
Yes.
And was law school still in your mind?
It still was that, like, you should. And my grandmother, like, "Well, when are you going to go to law school?" But otherwise, I was like, hey.
That's how she talks.
When I came home one time, she was like, "Raise the flag. Anne's home." Yeah. You can meet her more if you come to see my one-woman show in May.
We will be there. Go ahead and...
That one really got right.
Yeah,
It's a great one.
I was like, "Grandma, do you want something to drink?" Sure. What? I said, "Water. Water's for bathing." Okay, great. Thanks, Graham. So law school was supposed to. I was like the shoulds. I should go to law school. I should go get a master's. I should. But I'm like, my light is turned the fuck on when I do improv, and my light is turned the fuck on when I watch it. And what the fuck am I doing? But I should try to do it. And so then I got a job writing content for an internet company. I totally jumped ship. I got hired as a writer and then stayed on. And then I got an agent, and I started studying more, and I started doing sketch comedy and learned writing and all that sort of stuff. And then took classes at the Groundlings. And that was the real game changer.
Why is that?
Well, the Groundlings is a theater that was started in the 70s, and it hosts the likes of P.B. Herman, Will Ferrell, Kristen Wiig, Melissa McCarthy, Kathy Griffin, Phil Hartman, and it's an intense training ground. Feeder for SNL, as some people want to say, but feeder for just being in this business. Amazing producers, writers have gone to that school. Like people... the guy who created The Walking Dead. There's just, improv, it also helps your writing too. It's not just to become a performer. So, so I took classes there, and I didn't realize that I was going to take classes there. I went in there when I was social working to use the bathroom, and I looked at the wall, and there's all these pictures on the wall, and I said, I want to be on that wall someday. And then cut to 7 years later, and hardcore classes, like cutthroat classes where you pass or fail, so to speak. Years of waiting lists, having no money and like buying a wig and like using all my money to buy a $55 wig, you know,
For a skit.
For a skit. For skits and skidoodles.
How does it work? So you gotta graduate each. You got 5 levels. You gotta graduate each level.
You do, yes.
To be passed on.
Yeah.
And it's going 1 to 2 doesn't take too long, but there's like a year wait list for 2 to 3.
Yeah, the school's structured a little bit differently now. There's sort of 1, 2, and 3. Those levels are mostly improv, and those you can move through pretty fast. But to then go to level 4, there used to be a long wait list. Now it's less because we offer that class more. But then the wait list from 4 to 5 can be up to 2 years. Yeah. And then from 5 to get into like the minor leagues, the Sunday company to perform every Sunday is like threading a needle. It's really hard. Then from that to then get selected to become a groundling, to be on the main company wall, to be part of the people like, you know, like those people I mentioned, to be in the main company is really hard.
And they do it all with a smile on their face.
Threading 2 needles
Threading
at once.
needle after needle.
Tons of needles, yeah.
A lot of buttons are missing over at the Groundlings.
God, that was such a hilarious joke, Robbie.
I'll take it.
Guys, he's drinking a lot of cold brew right now.
Don't forget, I'm the host of the show. It's supposed to be ultimate respect to
That's
the host.
right. That's right. But, you know, the one other time I'll just say this, you know, it's like that sort of kismet or that quinky-dink or that serendipity where you look somewhere and you're like, I would love to be part of this. And then you walk away and you never know that you ever really will or that you could be. And then cut to 7, 8, 9 years later, you're part of that. The same thing happened. I was like on my couch in the lowest part of my life, shit, just like everything terrible, like wine bottle, lots of pudding. And I'm watching my friend on the Jay Leno show, and I'm like, I'll never be there. I'll never fucking get on Jay Leno show. And look at him. I'm going to a shit audition where I got to wear camel toe pants, and my life sucks, and I got a car with duct tape on it, and I'm going through a terrible divorce, and like, oh man, I got a hump in my nose, and I do have a hump in my nose. Anyway, and then, like 3 years later, I was like a correspondent on the Jay Leno show, and like meeting him and being part of his final week, like one of my segments. And yeah,
What were you corresponding?
fake casting director.
You were a fake casting director?
So it was a segment written by 2 hilarious Groundlings alum, and somehow I got the opportunity because they'd saw me direct a show. And so like, you'd be good as a kind of a host, a host of a podcast. You'd be a good host called Robbie D.
Yeah, not any better than me.
So I'm pretty much auditioning for this. So Will, you and I are going to start a podcast called Robbie D2.
That.
Is that right?
Yeah. No, so they gave me a shot, and somebody couldn't do it. So I was like the replacement, and I went to Universal City Walk, and they vetted people, and you did fake auditions for spokespeople. So I was the fake casting director, and I would like lead people and ask them questions. And then it was always in good fun because Jay Leno was like funny, but always never to make fun of people. And then at the end, I would say, okay, say the tagline for the product. They would say it. And then now say, and now you're on the Jay Leno, you're on the Tonight Show with Jay Leno. And they would say, and now I'm on the Tonight Show with Jay Leno. And they would like go crazy. It was the best. So I got to do those segments, but then I got to also go on the actual show, come out, shake Jay's hand, and intro my segment. And I did it like 12 times.
I can give you an exact number. Is it 12?
I think we filmed about 12 segments, so I think I probably went on the show 9 times. So because sometimes we combined segments.
Oh, yeah. I got it 10.
10. There you go, right in the middle.
Nice.
Slingshot that between 9 and 12. Yeah, I was on 10. Yeah. I gave him a thank you card and a coffee card to thank him. Because what do you give Jay Leno? And he's like, I have never, I can't do his impression. He said, I never drank a cup of coffee in my life, but I'll give it to my wife. I was like, awesome, cool, thank you for the experience. He was so nice. Oh my God, he was so nice.
That's so funny. And then you used that experience to leapfrog into commercials acting?
Yes.
Or got a commercial agent from it?
Got a commercial agent. Yep.
Ooh. Things are really rolling.
Yes. My first audition ever was for Pepto-Bismol. Do you remember those commercials where they were in a line and they would do like a Macarena and they would like go upset stomach, diarrhea, ba 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 ba. No? What are you both fucking 12?
No, I remember it.
Okay.
Stomach diarrhea.
Upset stomach,
Well,
diarrhea.
they
That
still
was my
the same
first ever
song.
commercial for a national commercial. My first ever one. And da-da-da-da. Will is doing the dance right here.
I know my stuff.
And she was like, and the casting director was like, or the session runner was like, you have to, diarrhea, don't stick your butt out, you clench. So then I got a call back, and I remember like sweating profusely in my car into the callback, and everyone jumped right, and I jumped left. And then I got in my car and I cried like for 2 solid days because I thought I'd shit the bed, literally. No, not literally, but like I screwed up. I didn't book the job, but that was my first ever audition. Because everyone jumped right and I jumped left in the Macarena line. I was like, I should move back home.
That's it.
That's it. I'm done.
Worst actor.
I can't
World's
even
worst
jump.
actor. I couldn't even jump. And then I probably didn't clench. I probably stick my butt out for diarrhea. I don't know. I got the like, total, like, I needed flight drugs back then because I had panicked. I panicked. Yeah.
And then you booked it.
I didn't book Pepto-Bismol, no.
Oh, they said you did.
No,
Did
it was
your
just my first ever
national.
audition.
Oh.
Yeah, I knew she didn't book it. That's why I was like, where are
You
you
said
going
your
with
first. You
that?
said your first national.
Really good listening, host.
Yeah.
Man, I'll tell you what. This is a dynamite show so far.
We're forgetting this is a vehicle for Robbie. We're all here
That's
to
right.
propel
I
him
know.
Yes.
forward.
If you could go back to complimenting me, that'd be fantastic.
You have cool pants on. You guys, he has electric blue.
Cosmic blue.
Cosmic blue, that's what it's
Yeah.
called? Not electric blue?
Cosmic blue.
They're very cool.
I wore them to impress you. So the fact that you're making light of them is very nice.
No, I actually really do think they're cool. Not many people can pull off cosmic blue pants.
Well, you should see my underwear.
Okay.
He's
I'm going to
wearing
guess. He's wearing none, Will?
He's wearing them.
I'm going to guess they're briefs. I'm going to guess they're navy with a white band.
Oh, you saw them earlier.
No.
I think you're right.
Am I right?
Help me out. I can't.
They are navy, but it's a darker navy band with white letters. So
wow,
you were basically
I'm
like,
so
I'm actually
close.
ridiculously impressed right now.
That's great.
High
High five.
fives all around.
I am half Croatian, and there's some gypsy witch in my
Of course,
blood, so-
everyone knows, for our listeners at home, Croatians are the best at guessing underwear types.
They are.
This show is back on track. All right, let's pick it up. This is great. So we're auditioning for national commercial. What was the
Yeah.
first one you booked?
Oh my gosh, really good question. Crest. No. Maybe. Crest.
Crest? Well,
I
you did-
think Crest was my first national commercial.
Yeah, you got great teeth.
I do.
Yeah, they're
I
great.
fucking have great teeth. My dad spent a lot on braces. I had braces for like 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah. So Crest was my first national commercial. I'm 90% sure.
90%.
Yeah. And I went on to do a ton more commercials.
Wow, one of my favorite commercials is still on the air. I think they renewed it for this football season, right? 'Cause I saw it
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah.
Your husband takes the section of the fence to say defense. It's creative. It's funny. It's good. And you
Hyundai.
play
Hyundai.
Was it Hyundai?
Yeah. Hyundai. How do you say?
Hyundai.
Can we Google that? Okay. That's also not correct,
That's not correct.
but we'll figure that out. We'll Google that real quick. It's phenomenal acting on your part. People don't recognize it, but you play that wife in the front yard that's so unimpressed with her husband, but still underneath it all loves football. So many layers. Such a simple role that can be screwed up in so many different ways, and you nailed it.
Thank you so much.
I love watching it. Great commercial.
Thank you. Thank you. I got a weird 24-hour bug or food poisoning the night before. Maybe it was this like fake wheat meat tempeh shit, but I was so sick that morning, and the director came and he was like, "You don't have to do it." I mean, I was talking to the medic. I was laying on the trailer floor. They were putting mascara on me. Jesse Bishop, the best makeup artist forever. Jesse Bishop at Jesse Bishop on Instagram.
Can we figure that out?
Jessie Bishop. She's an amazing makeup artist. She somehow like made my face work, and they had called the backup to come because I was that sick. And I don't know what happened. I just somehow I was like, no, I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
I get to see you just laying on the floor, just like an IV in one arm, and they're like just get mascara on.
Pretty
me.
much. I know it sounds a little diva. You're on the ground, but I was that sick. You know, when you're like all of a sudden you get that hot sweat and you're like, I need to lay down because something's about to happen. And so, yeah. And they had to, I think, go back, don't quote me on this, and color correct because I still was like gray.
Gray.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be a lot of money to be given up. I feel like I would drink 10 Red Bulls and just go get it done.
You would think you could, but then if you feel it's also food poisoning, you can't really only have like ice. But there was real coffee in that mug, so I had to keep drinking real coffee. I was like, oh no. Yeah.
You could get some Pepto-Bismol.
I know I should have. Oh, yeah. No, I swore it off forever. Do you know, side note, let me tell you guys something. Okay, I did a Progressive Soup commercial that never aired, but it was my first time flying to New York. And I was like in first class and like eating like, whatever, free cheese. And I was like, this is awesome. Now, I met another woman who did a Progressive Soup commercial. And she's like, oh, mine didn't air either. And every single grocery store I go into, I turn every single can of Progressive Soup around. And I was like, oh, that's commitment to your anger. I mean, mine just didn't air, which happens.
Right.
It's okay.
I had AT&T not air.
Yeah, but to this day, she goes anytime she can.
That's a Campbell's household. I'll tell you what.
Right?
I think we just found out Progressive will never be our sponsor for this show.
I'm sorry.
I like you, Progressive Soups. You're thick, hearty, and delicious.
You are. I know.
Cover the grounds. We're good.
Okay, good.
we got it back. We're back on track.
Instead, I mean, if you're going to eat Progressive Soup, you might as well just eat Taco Bell.
That sounded like a jab at Taco Bell.
No, Taco Bell. I mean, we were going to Postmates it to the Groundlings last night and pay $10 to get $10 worth of food. We all wanted Taco Bell that much.
I think it's worth it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So as far as you had all these fantastic auditions, but not every audition goes as planned.
No.
Do you have any of these experiences?
Yeah. I mean, you think I had one where it just like the breakdown said like must be willing to fall on a crash mat on their face repeatedly. And you're like, no. And then you get in the room and you're like, I want this. And you try and you just fall repeatedly on your face over and over. And then you still don't get it. I had an audition for the Laughing Cow Cheese spokesperson. So who ended up getting it is not me, spoiler alert, and she's great. She's a great actress and she's very funny and she's on a show or was on a Disney show, I believe. So she was great. My experience was with my choice. You had to tell a funny, quirky story and then you had to say the tagline. Have you laughed today? Which is the tagline for Laughing Cow Cheese. So just tell a funny story that's your personality, that's light. You had to wear something in your personality, casual, cute. So we went in, I think, 3 at a time. Maybe 1 at a time. First girl, or the girls were talking about what stories they were going to say. Like, I got a special soy latte, like, in the morning. And I was like, where is it? And I drove to work with it on my top of my car the entire time. Have you laughed today? And another girl was like, I was like, where's my phone? Where's my phone? Where's my phone? And the friend was like, Denise, it's in your hand. And I was like, oh my God, have you laughed today? And I was like, okay, so in college, I worked at this like fish joint and this guy, and we were like the youngest people that worked at this fish joint, like I worked around people that were like, really a lot older. And one guy, he had like a bob haircut, but he was really cute. And I took him back to my house. Not that I did that all the time. And I took it back to my house afterwards. And like, we were like getting it on. I lived in this like, sort of this like Peter Brady attic. I don't know, like, so I was like living in this attic and it was like Ohio and stuff and, getting it on. Not that I did that all the time. And he was like, hey, do you want to do it? And I'm like, well, do you have a condom? Not that that's me, do you have a condom? And he was said like, no, I don't. And I go, okay, maybe next time. And he's like, oh, there won't be a next time. Have you laughed today? And the entire room was like, what is wrong with this woman? And I looked at their faces and I wasn't sure if I was shit. What I felt was hot shit coming out of my butt, or if I was like, is this where I just like launch myself out of some window. I mean, I looked at them and I don't know that they knew what to do. And then I was like, thank you so much. Thank you. And they were like, thanks. That's another one. Cried in my car. Cried, I think, longer than 2 days. What part of my brain thought that would be a quirky, funny story?
I think it's fucking hilarious. It's quirky. They just didn't know what the hell the kind of gold they had in front of them right there. That's all I'm saying.
I think you did too good of a job.
I think so too. I mean, for a national cheese commercial where you tell a a sexual story about, like, to me, it was like I wasn't slutty. I really was being safe. And, no, they didn't want that at all. Have you laughed today?
Oh, can I have a little extra cheese on the way out? Thanks so much, guys. Should I kill myself right here or should I wait and get in my car? Should I go back and raise the flag for my grandmother? Great. Maybe I should go fucking be a lawyer now, you fucking laughing cow cheese, huh? Fuck you guys. Seriously. And it was all just because I panicked and thought I was going to tell a racy story. And, oh, man.
Laughing Cow Cheese is not going to be a sponsor.
I mean, but who wants to have Laughing Cow when you can have Taco Bell?
Yeah, that's fair. See? Oh, God, you're so good. So you became a session director.
I did. I know.
Helped out with the auditioning.
Yes, that helped out so much because you could really see on camera what to do and what not to do. And a lot of times you have to learn what not to do. A lot of what not to do. And the camera can smell desperation more than anything. Mm-hmm. So when actors were desperate, you could really feel that. So that gave me a window into auditioning that I to this day, I'm forever grateful for.
It's the best acting school in Los Angeles.
Best.
Becoming a session director.
Yeah, and I trained other people, and I even would ask, like, on small jobs if I could have a few of my friends come and watch, and the casting directors I worked for usually let me, and it just, so many actors were like, whoa.
No, whoa.
Yeah, that's really good.
That's so cool.
Marble mouth.
I got so excited I couldn't even talk. I have friends of mine who do the same thing. Like, I don't see a difference anymore. I feel like I've plateaued about the knowledge you can get from watching. But people that come in and watch still are just like blown away.
Yes.
Just how the same line can be read 20 different ways by 20 different people and interpreted. And it's crazy.
It really is.
How stupid some of them look and how genius some of them look.
Best film school. Right here in the room, just watching them.
It's the best.
So if anybody wants to pay me $20 to come sit in on a session, they can do
Only
that.
20? I was going to say 400 million.
That's your whole year's salary, though.
I know.
I think I'm going to be priced out at that purchase point, but I'll make note of it. But then, Annie's time in Los Angeles hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
She decided, instead of bottling up these feelings, to let them out.
That's true.
By writing them down for everyone to come and see.
That's right. So my personal life took a shit turn, and I ended up in what I like to call the shit bucket. And I wrote about it while I was in it. And then I finally crawled out after just a year of insane story points and just shit and then more shit and then more shit. So I wrote a memoir, and I wrote it not because I thought, like, people will read it because of who I am. Oh yeah, you're the girl on the Arizona Cardinals commercial. No, I thought if it could help one person, honestly. So, what can you do with the shit that you're dealt? You can make meaning out of it. So I was performing regularly at the Groundlings. I was directing shows. I had the pleasure of being in sketch comedy shows with the girls from Bridesmaids. I was in an improv group with some of them. I mean, I was surrounded by these super mega talented people, and but I couldn't, aside from some laughter when I was with them, I couldn't break out of my terrible shit bucket. Like, I just felt so terrible. So I took the memoir. I got a writing coach. Writing coaches are so great because when you're telling your own story, you're sort of like a hoarder where you think everything's important, but you need someone to say, okay, we're going to put these boxes away for right now. They are still important. No one's going to throw them away, but here's the box you need to open. So I had this great writing coach, and he helped me write this memoir. I submitted it to a few agents, and one of the first rejection letters I got was a woman saying, great writing, love the first 10 pages, because that's basically what they read. But here's the thing, P.S., with memoir writing, we have to care about the main character. And in this, I don't really care about the main character.
Oh.
I know. I was like, nope. The main character's me, bitch. And then she also sort of went on to say, like, and we're not sure your voice, who you are. And since you're not famous, nobody knows. You read Tina Fey's brilliant memoir-ish book, and you know who she is. It was so fucking funny. And at this point, like, yeah, I had friends on Saturday Night Live. Like, I was watching, friends who win Oscars. Like, I was watching all this happen, and I couldn't get out of my funk. And so I said, fuck you all. I'm going to take this memoir. I'm going to write a one-woman show, and I'm going to put it up one time. So that was what changed the game. And when you tell your managers you're doing a one-woman show, they basically are like, we're going to drop you, because one-woman shows tend to be super cheesy. The poster, somebody holding an umbrella, or like, it's a woman and her cat, and it's called like Choices. And so
that was great. I love that show.
You did? Oh my God, you saw it at the Burbank Airport in the back room at 2 p.m. on a Sunday.
Choices featuring Mr. Pebbles, the cat.
Hi, this is Mr. Pebbles, my cat. Meow. That's the first line. Mm-hmm. And then there's also some puppets. So I wrote that show, and then, that show I did once, and then I did it again, and then I did it again. And I did it about 15 times to sold out audiences here in Los Angeles and New York. And then I had the opportunity to get signed by a huge agent because of it, a huge agency. And that totally changed the game, auditioning, because now you can get into more rooms, and get seen. And I had a lot of casting directors and people in the business see it, and that was fucking great. And then someone from CAA London saw it and said this would be a perfect show for Edinburgh. So I went to Scotland last summer and did a show about feelings where nobody really talks about feelings. And some men were super drunk and walked out mid-show, and then other people like standing ovation, and like, people like, I saw under some kilts. It was amazing. It was an amazing experience.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And it's all your stuff.
Yeah. Now I'm writing something else based on it, based on that show, a feature based on that show. So yeah. And I'll be doing that show again, May 1st at the Groundlings. It's called How to Not Kill Yourself for 30 Days and the Next 330.
After that, you're screwed. Figure it out on your own.
Yeah, exactly. After 330 days. But it's a dramedy. It's honest. It's real. It's vulnerable. It's funny. And
Producer Will and I are going to be front row. We're coming.
Okay, but not front. Sit a little bit more in the middle.
Okay.
Because
I'm going to sit as close to you in the theater as you are to me right now. I'm going to let you see how it feels.
Oh, yes,
I was going to lay in the aisle, so you don't even need to get just...
I would love that. I will
that. If you'll let me.
I'll put on some makeup. We're also going to post the trailer that we have.
Oh, yes, please.
Onto the Facebook
yes.
page, so go check that out.
And like, if I can just like...
area, go see it.
And also what was happening is like, I was doing sketch comedy, but I didn't get on Saturday Night Live. Mad TV was done, but I hadn't gotten on Mad TV. I didn't book like 2 or 3 other sketch pilots. And so it is up to you as a creator to continually to reinvent yourself and to not be afraid to tell truthful stories in comedy and in drama. If that is your true north, is like truth. Is that what they call it? Your true north, your North Star? But like, honestly, I was like, fuck it. I don't care what people think about me. I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to do it because the intention is not to try to change agents and get a career move. The intention was to help. The intention was, yeah. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to bring it down to a valley, but...
Oh, no. We've been in a valley.
Okay.
This is bringing us back up.
Okay, yeah. So it was great. When I took the show to New York, I had young kids connect to a part of the story. When I took the show in Scotland, I had older... Like, there's a lot of different things that you can take away from it. But it was about authenticity.
The same feeling you got working with the East Los Angeles people?
You know what? I never really thought of that, but yeah. Yeah, because that's all we've got anyway is each other, right? Really? So many of these jobs, like, you can be... Stephanie Courtney, who's Flo, is one of my dearest friends, and there were 3 of us up for that job, and, she was like, whoever gets it, I'll buy you a glass of wine. And I was like, yeah, now you owe me a house. But, like... And it was her job, always. She's fantastic, and she's created a campaign out of that. But do you know what I mean? You get so close to big things that can change your life, and some work and some don't. But the one thing that you can't control in this crazy fucking business is what you decide to do with your own story, what you decide to create. A podcast, Will, a podcast, Robby D. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
A web, or whatever, like a screenplay, right? I want to read it.
Yeah, I'll bet if you would have got flow, you wouldn't have written this show, though, huh?
Never. No. No. I'm sure I wouldn't have. And I also really believe that at the time it was like a 3-spot deal. I really think Stephanie has made it what it is because of who she is and her ability to have a funny, quirky, cool character mixed with the whole team, mixed with the writers and the directors. I think there's been a few Brendan, who's doing them now, is fucking fantastic. And yeah, I mean, there were dark nights in Edinburgh, dark nights where someone walks out of your show because they're super drunk and they have to pee. And then other dark nights where you hear a bunch of people outside and being like, "Get me a pint, you cunt." And you're like, "Oh my God, what am I doing here?" But, you do it.
Put them face to face with that grandma character. They'll sit their ass down.
That's right. That's right. But then because I had a new agent, I had a great team at CAA and a great team at Prince Pato Young. I got into, and then I booked Shameless and Silicon Valley, and now I'm recurring on Grey's Anatomy, which is, oh my gosh, it's so fun. Except I'm kind of afraid of hospitals, so you're on set in a hospital. I was in the season finale and I had to birth a baby standing up, which is the first time they ever did that in an episode. That was pretty intense.
Why couldn't you just sit down?
Because it was happening. Here's the thing: when a baby decides to come out of your vagina, it just decides to come out. I don't know if you have any experience with that, but
I don't have any babies,
and I don't either. But what the nurses explained to me is that when it's coming, it's coming, and it was like, "Hua!"
I just feel like there's probably a gurney right around the corner.
I know, but it was like coming out
in between contractions. They're like, "All right, you have 30 seconds. Just lay backwards."
No, I don't think you have 30 seconds. I think when the head is right there, you just have to do one more big push. I was crowning in the hall, and you just had to make a big push.
Did you want to go method for that or no?
Well, I have never had a baby, so I couldn't go method.
No, they could just put one right up. That's not the way it works.
Oh, did I want to go? I mean, the baby that they booked because of union laws was a little bit bigger than a regular tiny newborn. So I was like, I don't know. I mean, maybe next time. There probably won't be a next time. So I was like, I don't think so. I don't think I need something shoved up my JJ.
It's fair.
How did they make the baby look like a newborn?
Cream cheese and jelly.
They put cream cheese. They just smear cream cheese and jelly all over a baby.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Parents, stage parents.
It's crying. Shh.
The baby was
shut up
gorgeous.
This is going to pay for your college.
Right.
Just shut up.
Yeah, they've used that baby a bunch. Yeah. So,
good. And
then I'll be in 2 episodes coming up when it comes back. Well, it is back, I think. Anyway, yeah.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
And then I saw.
I just had a weird water burp. I don't know if you're going to pick that up.
It happens.
Okay.
You probably did.
Oh, we're going to pick it up and amplify it.
Please do.
We're not.
We sell this to Japan for strange noise fetishists, so they'll be really into it.
I can't wait.
I want to go back just a little bit when you were on The Office.
Oh, yeah.
Office. You sat at the Benihana episode. You sat between Dwight and Michael and Jim and Andy.
Yes, I did.
And just got super annoyed with Dwight.
Yeah, that was my first ever big job, first TV job, aside from some small pilots and pilot presentations and stuff. And I sat in the makeup chair and Steve Carell was 3 chairs over, and I got so nervous because I wanted to say hi. And then he just was going over lines, and then he turned and he was like, "Hi." I'm like, "Hi." And then you had to wear a Christmas sweater, and I said to wardrobe, "I have a couple from my Groundlings costume closet," and she's like, "Bring them." And they chose the sweater I'm wearing is from my own costume closet, and then we went on set. It was Harold Ramis was the director. I was like, "What? I'm supposed to be a lawyer. Why am I here?"
You're still holding on to the lawyer idea.
I was like, this doesn't happen to me. This doesn't happen to me.
I'll be the coolest girl in law school.
Harold Ramis also played Egon in the Ghostbusters.
He did.
Just in case people
Fun
didn't know
fact.
the name.
Oh God, he's such a talent. He was
Yes.
such a talent.
Rest in peace, Harold.
Yes, Harold, as an actor and a director. So yeah, I did that, and the biggest thing that was so cool was I was sitting at the table and watching them all when we would call action and when it wasn't action, and I'm like, oh, they're kind of versions of themselves in some way. That these characters that they're playing are so true to the essence, or at least the choices they were playing were so grounded and honest. I don't know any of them personally, but I just was like, oh wow, it was the weirdest acting lesson. I don't even know if I can really describe it, but I was like, oh, okay. So Rainn Williamson, that was his cousin.
Oh, was it?
No. No, he was a little bit quirky, and then like Dwight, I just felt like, it just, yeah, it felt like they were bringing themselves to it. And I think I had learned in commercials that, you do less. You do a lot less.
Yeah.
And you still have to have a point of view. And these guys had they had really specific points of view, and their characters were so grounded that I was like, oh, okay. It's not as magical as I think. I mean, it's still magical that all the stars have to align to book something. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But they were just, yeah. And whatever the choices they were making made it look effortless. And that's what I was like, wow, they are masters. They're really good.
And you were literally right in the middle of
I
it.
was right in the middle of them. Yeah. And there was so much of it you had to do you just really had to play the scene because you really couldn't pull focus, but you had to really have an opinion about it. So
You're kind of the same character in the Arizona Cardinals commercial.
a little bit.
A little
I mean,
bit.
there's a little bit of a
Except you didn't
thread.
love Dwight.
Yeah, there's a thread of someone who's like a little bit over it, a little dry, and could snap at you. But then you have to be careful because then people are like, if you're too bitchy, then you don't book it.
You are the master of the look to me. One look,
yeah.
you can just convey a kaleidoscope of emotion and irritation, and it's just it's all
The master of the look.
from The Office, and that one look to. And this is a little jumping a bit ahead. The Silicon Valley, where he's giving the interview, and you're just like, both silent, just little shots. I can't forget them. They're great.
Thank you, Will. Thank you. But that's also, like you really get better on commercials. Like I remember hearing, I think it was, I wanted to say Jane Lynch, and she was like, I did a herpes commercial, and I stood up there and like yelled. I loved commercials. I think it's Jane Lynch. And yeah, I mean, you cut your teeth, you get better, and you have to do take after take after take. And you often get 15 seconds to make one look, and you have to have 7 things in your head, and that one look has to happen. So I definitely got better. I worked with so many really, really talented commercial directors.
Ooh, I do want to jump forward.
Jump forward.
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah. That job was awesome, and also another sort of like shit your pants job, because when you audition with Larry David. So he's watching you, but also improvising with you. So it's wild.
So they say that they give you the ending point, but no script.
Yeah, well, they just tell you like what your character's supposed to do. Like you're going to walk into a store and you're going to say the word dog. It's those kind of things. So even in the audition, it's that cryptic.
What was yours?
Mine was try to cut in line and don't back down.
That's it.
That was it.
With
That was
Larry,
it.
with the stars.
With Larry, with I think Jeff Garlin was in the room too at the audition. With the creators, with the casting director. A room full of like 7 people, and so you're improvising with them.
That's what
Yeah,
you do.
and-
Thank God I've been doing improv for 10 years.
Yeah.
I just fall back on that training.
Yeah. And Cheryl Hines was my first ever teacher at the Groundlings. And so it was like kind of a cool thing. And I had auditioned for that show 3 times, so 3 different scenarios. So it was my 3rd time. And then that was the job I booked. Yeah.
What was it like on set?
Oh my God, it was so cool. It was so cool. You're like there, and then like we're all standing there, and Larry walks in. He's like, all right, who's first? And I raised my hand. He's like, all right, show me what you got. And he meant it. But he was also very cool. And you do a take, and then they all run away, and you're just kind of standing there, and you're not sure if they liked what you did or they didn't. They're like, okay, great, and go again. You're like, should I do anything different? Because there's no script. they're like, nope, just go again. Like, okay.
Did
So
you
just do-
like it? Did you not? What?
You don't know.
That sucks.
You don't know.
That's almost worse than getting on an airplane, not knowing feeling.
Right? You are. Because also, like, as actors, we're nervous and we want approval, and maybe just as human beings, I don't know. But yeah. So did it again and again and again. And then finally, like the fourth take, then I did something where they were like, oh yeah. And I remember it was because it was really from the moment. Like, I was genuinely not satisfied with the end of the argument with Larry. And I wanted to come back and argue with him more. Like, I was like, no, you don't have the last word. Like, Annie was like, no, you don't have the last word in my mind. And then I did the little maneuver that then became the moment.
You just on your own decide I'm coming back in.
Yeah. Because they leave it open ended to see what you'll do, and I tried all different things, and I think it was about the fourth take. Yeah.
And you were legitimately annoyed with Larry in real life.
In real life, I was like, well, yeah, annoyed. More like, no, you know what? That is a good point, but I still have another point to say, and that's how skilled he is. I mean, genius improviser, beyond. His ability to keep an argument going, or his ability to keep spinning while still saying yes, is like, that's pretty fucking dope.
Very difficult to do.
Very difficult. Because, like, yes and is the basis of improv, as your listeners know. Do they know that?
Hopefully by now, yeah.
So if I say, oh my God, my son, you're home from the war, you don't get to say, I'm not your son, and haha, I'm really your dentist.
I wasn't at war. I was at practice.
Right. And then I don't get to go, practice for what? I mean, you can ask questions, but you try not to ask questions. So.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Whenever people start arguing on stage, it's basically a form of denial.
It is.
And so
Yeah.
to be able to argue while saying yes the whole time is incredibly difficult to do.
Yes. Because a lot of times you want to say, yeah, but, you know, when I taught teens, a lot of times teens will say, like, you're a loser. Like, that's what they'll say to each other because it's sort of their language. You're a loser. And you have to teach teens to go, yes, I am a loser. And it's really hard because everything in your blood wants to say, like, I'm not a loser, you are. Yes, I am a loser. I'm the biggest loser ever. I'm such a loser. I have an entire school named after me. Yes, that's pretty hilarious teen comedy for your teen podcast. I used to also teach improv to senior citizens who I'd be like, all right, I need 2 people up. And I'd look in the audience, and about 10 minutes in, they'd all be asleep.
Today we're going to do the sleep improv.
That's right.
Oh, that's funny. But your scene wound up making the final cut and was in the episode.
Yeah.
Crushing it.
Thank you.
Oh my God. And then came another big booking with Silicon Valley. You play CJ Cantwell, the reporter.
Yeah.
Season
3.
3.
We'll see if I might make a tiny appearance in season 5. We'll see.
I hope so.
You never know what stays and what goes, you know. But yeah.
It's another heavy improv show, huh? All those guys do improv.
They do. The show, yes, you do a lot of takes with improv. But what I found, you stay pretty close to the script because it's written fucking brilliantly. But the improv aspects comes in the character choices you're making. In the little things, how you hold the pen, how you sit in the chair, how you throw the pen when you're pissed. Like those little things that you're making choices on. That aren't necessarily lines, you know, improv lines or. So yes, so.
The part of improv is having an emotion behind something.
Yeah, and what's your point of view in the situation? Yeah.
And what was yours?
I mean, those guys were all so brilliant. So I just remember kept thinking like, just toss the ball, so to speak. Just pitch. That's why you're here. And just pitch it to them. In the audition, she did let us improvise. And she was like, okay, this take, you're kind of annoyed at them. So interview them and be annoyed. So I was like interviewing. And she just like let me keep rolling past the script. And I actually had my phone in my back pocket. And I like pulled out my phone and I looked at what time it was, and then I was like, oh, I gotta get to Pilates. Okay, God. And then I walked off camera. Do you know what I mean? So I made choices like about this character being like a woman who wanted the story, but also like had a life where she like wanted to power walk or do Pilates and like had to get places and maybe had like a new Match.com date, like, you know. So then when she had me do it again in different ways and stuff, then I just started to fill out this character. So then the improv becomes easy because you know what, you know. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing in auditions, in the same way in commercials, you can't ask for permission. So if you're standing in line, you don't turn to the session director and say, should I hold my purse? Right? You just hold your purse, because if you're standing in line, you hold your purse anyway, right? And if they're like, you look bored, don't look at your fake watch on your wrist, because few people wear watches, you know? Like, then just like really use your phone and look at your watch. Anyway, I'm going off topic.
No, I agree with you. I think that's the difference between the pros and the not amateurs, but not pros. Is that they walk in the audition room and they ask me very little questions. They basically have their mind made up, or have done it so many times they get it and know what they want to do.
You cannot ask permission. And ultimately, people are hiring you for your essence, I think. So it's either you or it's not you.
Yeah. Which is a thing that takes a long time to get in Los Angeles.
I know.
I can't believe I didn't get a call back. It has very little. It has something to do with you, but not as much as you think.
Not as much as you think. And it's like, if they really are not taking your essence, like there's really nothing you can do. You can do all the things you can do. You can prepare as best as you can. You can get there on time, and you can drink enough water and not over caffeinate.
Yeah, like right now.
Yeah.
Me.
And then you have to let it go. So like if there's a huge like pilot audition or a huge film audition, usually I bookend it with like lunch with someone or coffee, so that you just don't put so much on it. You can't.
No, that's a long, long drive home after you mess up an audition.
I mean, and then you do it in your rearview mirror, and then you think of what you should have said, and then you call everyone and say what you should have done.
Then you're in the shower and you're replaying it over and over and over.
Yeah,
and
you
over
can't.
Again.
You get one person, you call that one person, you talk about it for 10 minutes, and then you let it go.
Love it.
So Silicon Valley was amazing. Those guys are insanely talented. It was so fun. It was such a dream job. It was really, really fun. And I saw Josh, who plays Big Head, hilarious character on it. And he was like, hey, Annie, good to see you. And I'm like, oh, shit. How do I know Josh? How do I know Josh? And I was like, hey. And then he was like, how's it going over at the Groundlings? I'm like, oh, it's good. It's really good. And then I was like, oh, yeah. And then he turns to someone else. He said, she was my teacher for level 2. And I was like, oh, that's right, I was. Yeah. You were super funny. And because the teachers choose who passes, who repeats, and who doesn't pass, I said, I passed you, right? He's like, no. And I'm like, oh, man. You're like a series regular on a hit, hilarious comedy for HBO. And I have a toilet bowl commercial running. and then so there was this real dead moment. And then he's like, but you were right to, because I needed to take it again and like learn more about characters. And I was like, he was hilarious. It was just about having character range, because the next level you have to write for your characters. So if you don't have enough range of characters, then you butt up against level 3 where you can't write for enough. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Then Mike Judd walks up and it's like, he's very few words. You know you're doing well because he just doesn't have to come over and tell you. He'd just go, you're great. And you're like, okay. So he walks over, saunters over, and he's like, I heard you taught Josh over at the Groundlings. I'm like, mm-hmm. Heard you didn't pass him. I'm like, uh-huh. And he was like, good for you. And he walked away. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get fired. So I felt like a tiny bit in the family. But Alec Berg was also amazing to work with, and everybody. It was just like the set. I mean, forget it. Yeah, it was awesome.
That's so funny. Alec Berg was a producer on Seinfeld, too.
Ah, that's right.
Alec Berg episode.
That's
Sounds like a rich person. Alec Berg.
That's right. Yeah.
Alec Berg. Okay. I'm excited to talk about your next movie.
my next movie. No, or my next booking.
What's the next booking? Because I guess it would be your next booking.
My next booking. No.
Oscar-nominated film for this year. Mm-hmm. Roman J. Israel Esquire. Mm-hmm. Denzel Washington. Annie Sertich, top billing.
No.
You're in there somewhere.
I am.
But you're there, damn it.
Yeah, I am there.
How did that come about?
My agent sent a email that said job offer to play an assistant DA in. I know.
The role you were born to play.
Right?
The lawyer.
The lawyer.
Comes full circle. I'm so excited.
I know. It was wild. So it was a job offer, and that's really cool when you don't have to audition, because auditioning is so hard in a tiny room. Anybody want to know what it's like to audition? Go stand in your bathroom, turn on the heat.
Invite 6 strangers to
Invite
judge
6
you
strangers
first,
to judge you, and do it, and have 7 eye lines, and also drink too much caffeine.
Drink too much caffeine.
Right.
And then, that's. I like turn up the heat. That's the best.
Really,
in a small room, turn up the heat.
Turn up so much heat. Even if there's air conditioning on, it doesn't matter. You get so hot. Jesus, so hot. So yeah, it was a job offer to play the assistant DA in a pivotal scene, and I knew and then and it was a voiceover job. So it was a lot of times if you get a voiceover job, I've done other voiceover jobs. I was the voice of a radio spot for a cow. That's the highlight. And so, you go to a booth. But in this instance, you were going to the set to work with the star actor and director. So I was scrolling down, and it says, the name of the film, the director, Dan Gilroy, who did Nightcrawler, Rene Russo's husband. And I loved that film. That's an Oscar-winning film. And then it said starred Denzel Washington. And I was like, oh. I mean, yes, and also I'll do it for free. I mean, what part of this do you say no to? So I did some voiceover coaching for it and learned my scene and read the script, which was brilliantly written and written in such a style that's so specific to Dan Gilroy. So that also inspired me as a writer. He broke rules left and right, and the script read super great. And, got up that morning and was super excited. I'm going to go meet Denzel Washington and I'm going to go do this. So I got there and it was awesome. And then I got into a tiny cubicle room and rehearsed. And I was like, there's Denzel Washington and there's Dan Gilroy. And I'm sitting here in my Target blouse.
Massimo Supply Co.
Right? Massimo collection. Yes. So, we rehearsed it a few times, and then they set me down a few cubicles away from his office, and they set up an actual phone to work, and they were like, and action. So you really did the scene with him, and it wasn't a comedy, but the improv in it was basically he added so much from the script. You had no idea what he was going to do, all the little pauses or the hiccup moments, or so then I would respond. And so I was definitely using all of my Groundlings training to just say yes to it, but also to be, someone who was hurried on the phone. So we did a bunch of takes, and then, and he never broke character. And then they were like, that's a cut, check the gate. And then the director and the DP came over, and they're like, actually, we're going to flip the shot. We're going to put you on camera, so hair and makeup are going to talk to you, and we're going to build an office over there, and good job. And then the DP was like, where are those glasses? And then they walked away. I was like, wait, what just happened? Wait, am I going to be on camera? That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen in a major film, that everything is the schedule's by exact moments. They don't have time. Who's going to go paint an office? Where are they going to find a blazer that's not Target? They basically turned an office, and
it's crazy.
It was crazy. So then at the end of the day, and crazy coincidence was that this woman, Brittany, who is also in the movie and plays an assistant, was in that episode of The Office with me. So we were like, holy shit. So many years later. So filmed that scene. And then right before they called action, the first AD normally just reads the lines off camera. There was a hush, and they're like, I don't know, should we ask him if he wants to read the scene? And Nobody says anything, and then from the back, the distance, like fog clears, and out comes Oscar-winning Denzel Washington, exactly, da 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 da, and he goes and he reads off camera for me, and I was like, okay, I guess I can die now. I mean, that was so...
No, you're not.
I know. No, you're
So
not.
much more to go.
But that was such a nod to just the film, to my performance got to be better. He did not have to do that. Are you kidding? Like, if
Most
you...
actors wouldn't do that on set.
Yeah.
I think most of them would be preparing for the next scene or in their trailer or something.
Right. And he
That's really
came out
cool.
and he read it behind like a sheet, a scrim, whatever, with me. And we did, a few takes, and then that was it. And then I was like, it probably won't make the cut. And then it stayed in the film, and then it was in the trailer,
That's
too.
in the trailer. You're in the trailer.
I'm in the trailer as a lawyer.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, and it was just a voiceover job. I mean, and it was like, dear journal. I mean, seriously. Like, get a jar, put a gratitude thing on it, and write it and put it in there. Like, I know that sounds super new agey and cheesy, but really. So
That is an outstanding story.
you do never know. But I didn't walk into it, like, circling back to like the show and all those sort of things. I didn't walk into it going, I'm going to be so good, they're going to put me on camera. I walked into it going, I get this experience of working with Denzel Washington. And then I was like, and now I'm Denzel Washington. On that note.
Denzel, I'm single. But you know what? Denzel Washington uses a lot of method acting.
Okay.
in his
Yes,
stuff.
he does. He
does.
was method in that. I mean, he didn't break character.
Speaking of method,
Yes.
we're moving into our hardest, most difficult segment of the show. Cue the music. For those of you at home, method acting is when I give the scenario, and Annie will give her line, she would say, as that character in that scenario.
Copy that.
Here
You're
we go.
welcome.
Let's not double talk.
Fair
Got
enough.
it? All right. Harold Ramis asks you to do an impression of Ellen DeGeneres making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
So like, I don't know, like the other day I was like making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I mean, I was just like taking some bread and taking some, so I wasn't taking the bread. I don't take bread. It's not like I stole bread. Where would I steal bread from? I actually have enough money to buy bread. Not that I have that much money, but I do have money. You know what I mean? I'm trying to say I own a lot of things. Like, what am I, Rupert Murdoch? Rupert Murdoch. That's like a new pop sensation. Anyway, I'm actually allergic to peanuts, so I made it almond butter, okay? So, DJ, cue the latest Katy Perry song. Katy Perry, that's her cousin. I'm Ellen DeGeneres.
Scenario 2. You're on an airplane. The stewardess is out of peanuts and only offers you Laughing Cow cheese.
Do you have a condom, ma'am? I'm sorry, that's an inappropriate question. True. I'm on such heavy Klonopin right now, so I can't be held accountable. Klonopin. Isn't that what Stevie Nicks used to chop up and have somebody blow up her butthole? I'm not sure. But I'm enjoying this conversation with you, JetBlue stewardess. Me too, actually. Boy, I don't want to go to St. Louis. Me neither. But I'm going there because I have a vacation. Listen, you want to upgrade to the aisle seat? I do, thank you so much. I went through a bad divorce. Me too. Can you just sit down? Yeah. Ha 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 ha. My husband cheated. So did mine. Have you laughed today? Brought to you by Laughing Cow Cheese and JetBlue. Where it's the cheesiest safely.
That's correct.
Denzel Washington approaches you, hearing of your talent, and says, "Can you guess what underwear I'm wearing?"
Ah, I see you're wearing briefs. They're your lucky briefs from when you were on the set of Training Day, when Ethan Hawke hugged you weirdly. and you got out of that hug. Also, I'm going to go over to craft service right now because I feel like I probably said something real stupid to you, and I'm going to emotionally eat some red vines. So if you can just forget about this conversation, Denzel, we'll be okay.
Last one, I promise. You're doing voiceover as a cow, and they offered you a weekly rate of $75.
Well, that sounds like a lot of manure, but I'll take it. Move over, Chase bank account, because I am going to bring you a check for $75. Also, I'd like to get a voucher for a JetBlue flight to St. Louis. Do they let cows on?
And that's it for method acting. Woo, unstrap your seatbelt there. That was phenomenal. That could be up there at the best method acting segment we've ever had.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to get you out of here on the last question I ask all my guests.
Okay.
And that is, what would Annie Sertich now tell Annie Sertich the day she's walking into her first improv class?
Do not give up, you fucking piece of shit. Okay? Don't give up. It is going to be so hard, and you are going to have people shit on you, but you're also going to have the best ride of your life because you're doing what happens when time stops for you. So don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. No matter what, do not give up. Do not give up. Full hearts, big eyes. Don't lose.
Can't lose.
Can't lose. Don't lose. Full heart. Make sure your heart is full and you don't lose it. Because if you lose your heart, then your eyes will lose it. That's from a show called Thursday Night Lights. So just do that. And then do that. And then you'll be okay. And also just like save your money.
That's all phenomenal advice. That could be the first time we've had a guest on our show call themselves a fucking piece of shit. That's for sure.
In the advice section, too.
I know.
I'm so sad. I don't want this show to be over, but unfortunately, it must end now. So I want to extend a massive thank you. I love you, Annie Sertich.
Thank you so much, Robby and Will. This was so fun, and you guys are so sweet to listen to my story. And thank you, people, for listening.
I'm going to listen to this podcast over and over again. We look forward to your success. I can't wait to come see your show. Be sure to come to the Groundlings if you're in the LA area. Buy tickets. Doesn't matter how much they cost. Pay double because it's going to be worth it.
$12, 8 o'clock, under an hour. If you hate it, I'll give you your money back. For reals.
I love it. Well, you hear that. Wait, what do you have to lose?
Right? There's not a Taco Bell nearby, but you can eat Taco Bell afterwards.
You could just don't bring it into the theater.
No.
See, I don't want this show to end, but it has to. Thank you to producer Will.
Woo!
Did a great job typing.
They did a weird handshake. You guys can't see it, but he grabbed one finger.
Phenomenal. And thank you to myself. I did a great job.
Decent.
I know it. Well,
You and your blue pants.
started out cold. Cosmic
Decent.
blue.
Cosmic blue.
Started out average, and then we got there. That's all that matters. The show recap right there, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to tune in next week. We're going to have a phenomenal guest. Mr. Denzel Washington will be swinging through. That may or may not be true. Only one way to find out. That's tune in and see for yourself. I'm Robby D, and this is Robby D and the Lesser Knowns. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Robby D and the lesser known.